Green Bay Day to Day. Hey everybody, it's your boy Beefy Bitch. I'm sorry if anybody is seeing this or listening to it. I guess you're seeing that. Oh, it came out on the same day as the podcast before it. I am sorry. I was fucking lazy all weekend, and I was like, you know what? I need to. At the very least, I need to double up because I have been gone for quite some time. So you'll have to forgive me for fucking this up. But, today we're just going to do some fan questions. And I know that I answered some of this stuff in the previous podcast, but maybe I'll have a little bit of an opportunity to expound or say something that I didn't say before. We'll honestly just have to see how it goes down. So, like I said, this is mostly just stuff that comes from you, the fans. Do I have any fans? I barely have any listeners. But so first and foremost, I don't think I've ever actually said, thanks for listening. I absolutely appreciate it, obviously. I wouldn't be doing anything without anybody listening, even if that's currently the case for all intents and purposes. The fact that somebody, actually tunes in to listen to this is actually, that's a pretty considerate thing to do. I appreciate you. Okay, so first, a while back, I doxed somebody, theoretically. I actually didn't use their real thing, but the person who, sent it. So the fake email that I gave out could have been someone's actual email. Of course, point blank, period. Please don't fucking harass anybody, But that, that person, might have received some semblance of harassment. We're just out here to fucking talk ball for the most part. So, got a viewer here request wondering what my regime is. I talked about it in whichever podcast that I had blasted my abs. Definitely at the time, I've been pretty sincerely focused on getting back in shape. I was over fucking 400 pounds, dude. So I needed to get back at the gym, and so lately, I've upped my running to a half hour, and then I go into 75 push-ups, then I do 200 crunches, then I do 100 squats, 100 jumping jacks, and then it can depend. A day like today, I actually don't have all that much work to do. When it rains, it is what it is, you're kind of deadlocked. I actually walked for, I'll said 4 hours. Holy cow, I walked for 4 hours. So I do that twice. I do a first initial walk. So I walked for 2 hours initially. Then I did a second set of all this stuff. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I can do that all the time. But, if you can dedicate, 6.5 hours to a workout, right? You're going to be killing it. Okay, Kyler contract. We talked about this before, but, yeah, I don't know how much I have to expound on it. Sadly, this is, I imagine you're talking about the 4-hour thing. The entire email actually says, what do you think about Kyler's contract? Would that kind of thing upset you? And so, yeah, obviously, the kind of guy that I am, man, I'm fucking putting in the work, I'm not sitting here, okay, you're absolutely right. Yes, I did take some time off, but again, in my defense, there wasn't much football to talk about, even with the Deshaun Watson case, and, it shows in the Undisputed and First Things First. They're talking about fucking nothing. So, but yeah, it would irritate me, obviously, right? Any time that you got to be told, oh, hey, you're not doing enough work. It's man, fuck you. Who's not doing enough goddamn work? Not enough work in your fucking mouth, maybe, you bitch. All right. So, anyway, it's just, yeah, it's insulting. Kyler should feel insulted. It appears that he doesn't, which is almost boggling to me, but okay, well, it's his business, I suppose. So what else? Do I do YouTube? Do I do TikTok? So I do have a Twitter. I've mentioned that, and I do have a phone. An email. Thank you, Jesus Christ. An email that can. That you can contact me at. I've plugged those enough, but in case anybody doesn't know, on my Twitter it's at GB_D2D, And my email is just GB-D2D at outlook.com. So, feel free to shoot me something. My YouTube is just an archive of all these things, as well as, I'll just take snippets of the podcast, one snippet from each podcast that I think is the most interesting thing, and I'll put it on there. And also the full podcast, obviously, because I use Buzzsprout, and they will delete it, after a month or two, I think. And then TikTok, yeah, kind of, sort of, but it's much more just a preview of what's going to happen before, I would say, there's one big, important noon game, there's one important afternoon game, and then obviously, the Sunday night game, for all intents and purposes. That's not to say, oh, hey, the fucking Jags and the Giants are playing, who cares about that? I know people care, but, it's just one of those things where it's just something who is, the Jags fan that's oh, we're going to the playoffs this year. I don't think that's happening. That might be their ceiling, is getting into a wild card spot. Okay. How did I become a Packers fan? That's a great question. So I wonder if anybody else has ever had this kind of origin story. I'm sitting there on my mom's couch, and we're watching a Packers game. I think they're playing the Dolphins. It was way back when. I think it was 3, maybe 2. So my mom hands me the phone, but before she hands it to me, she's like, tell him you're a Packers fan. So, I hear somebody say, hey, who's your favorite team? And I'm like, I guess it's the Packers, right? And that was it. I told a guy over the phone that my favorite team was the Packers, and that's how it landed. And so actually in my adolescence, I caught a lot of shit for that, because they're like, that's what fucking made him your favorite team? And I'm like, yeah, when I was 3, Lambeau Field, fucking Brett Favre, one of the oldest rivalries or the absolute oldest, I think, in the NFL. I mean, those things fucking help, but I mean, yeah, when I was fucking 3, that's what made me a fucking fan, is that, my mom told me to be a fan. So, I don't know. I know it's a fucking stupid origin story, but at least it's not that stupid, I was fucking born there. So, I have a fucking little brother that's stepbrother, I guess, that was born in Oakland. So guess who his fucking favorite NFL team is? Yeah, the Niners, like a pussy. No, of course not. No, he's a Raiders fan. And, of course, he's an athletics kind of guy for baseball, sort of. I mean, we don't really give a shit about that kind of stuff in my household, but, and he's actually a Lakers fan, but, of course, he wasn't oh, well, I'm not a fan of the Golden State Warriors, of course, those fucking kinds of guys. Golden State repeating. So I'm actually, glad that you asked the question, sort of, because I'm not at all what you would describe as a basketball prognosticator. I like watching the games, but it's totally one of those things where it's I don't really know what I'm looking at. Why do people always play man? I think it's because they have to, but I don't know. So I would say, I don't like their chances. They kind of got lucky. I know that that's not fair, but their first team had their second and third guy out, the Denver Nuggets, right? And then they were playing against Nikola Jokic. If you're if you're a Nick Wright follower, then you know that he feels that was at least a shoddy MVP. And then with second round, I believe they played the Grizz. John Morant went down. The third round, it was just Luka, and I'm not taking anything away from these victories. But it is what it is, So, and then in the fourth round, Jason Tatum didn't, in the finals, Jason Tatum didn't show up. So it's I don't know, it's hard for me to say, hey, yo, they really did, they won everything. Of course they did, but it's they weren't exactly playing the creme de la creme as far as opponents goes. And then finally, our last question, I know this is going to be a bit of a shorter one, I'm sorry. Why is Tyreek bloviating the Finns? So just based on how Tyreek has been acting, I'm imagining that you mean why is Tyreek so high on the Finns, and he's saying between the two, I think the accuracy of Tua Tagovailoa is greater than Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if any of that is true. I don't think that Tua really takes any of the categories from Mahomes. I saw on Twitter somebody said Tua turned the ball over. So, I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, if you came up with that, bro, that's some props right there. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's with the Finns, so I can't at all say like, why is he being so nice to the Finns? It's so weird. Like, but yeah, I mean, there is a part of you that has to say like, it's a little bit bullshit, isn't it? Like, you're gonna walk in and be like, oh, that's fucking. Look at how fucking excellent Tua is, and we're just. I mean, and you know what? The Dolphins did a lot in the offseason. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, well, Tyreek and that's it. You know, they got quite a few guys, and I thought that they drafted decently. You know, but otherwise, you know, it's like I don't know what I expect a guy to do, but it also hits the ear wrong to like, you know, like I would have felt a hell of a lot better about it if he had at all said like, hey, we know it's a work in progress. You know, Tua isn't going to walk out and take the league by storm. He's going to have to, you know, do a lot of progressing, like most of this league is for every quarterback, you know. But no, I mean, he's making it sound like he much actually prefers Tyreek Hill. I'm sorry, Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa over Patrick Mahomes. And there's one guy that I would take over Patrick Mahomes playing today. His name's Aaron Rodgers, and that's it. So I don't know. That's all the questions that we got this time. I am sorry about that. This should go up after the fact, but basically seconds after on both Buzzsprout and YouTube. You can check it out there if you want to. Yeah, I guess we'll check in. Probably take another week off. Again, it's the preseason. I don't think many people care too much, you know. And we're waiting. Sounds like it's at least going to be a little bit of time before the Deshaun Watson case resolves. So, you know, let's meet back here just before September. What do you say? All right, guys. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you later.